Hi everyone, welcome to LifeSpa.com, where we prove ancient medical wisdom with modern science. I'm Dr. John Douillard, and today I want to talk about a new course that we launched just yesterday. It's called Question Your Digestion. This is completely free. It's a 4-part video series, really well done with green screen, and you can kind of follow along. It's really a beautifully designed course to help everyone question their digestion. You know, in our culture, we keep doing this thing where we take out the foods that make us feel bad, and we stop eating this and we stop eating that, and we blame the food and change the diet. And we know that diets don't work. 99% of these diets don't actually work or deliver much benefit at all. Clearly, eating whole foods, non-processed foods, organic foods, critical. But above and beyond that, and as a result of not doing that, many of us have a broken down digestive system that renders us with the inability to digest well. And as a result, we don't digest certain foods as easily as we should. So what do? We take them out of our diet. I mean, my book, Eat Wheat, was all about that as well. You remember I wrote that book about a year ago, and this is all about understanding that wheat is not really the culprit. Yes, I get it. You eat wheat, you feel bad. Why would you eat it? So you stop taking the wheat and you take it out of your diet. Wheat is a highly processed product. It's been eaten way too much. It's a seasonal food. The enzymes for digesting wheat, as I talk about, increase in the fall when wheat's harvested. It's not meant to be eaten all year long, and actually no foods are meant to be eaten all year long, which is why here at LifeSpa, we're such big fans of seasonal eating, and why we give you free recipes and grocery lists and superfood lists for every single month of the year in our 3-season diet challenge, because it's so important that we get the information of what's in season to get the bugs from the soil in your gut that change from winter, summer to spring, and there's hard science to back that up. So that's a really, really important piece of the puzzle, is understanding that foods are cyclical. That'll take a big chunk of the digestive stress off of you. So questioning your digestion means questioning that it might be your digestion that's making you not be able to tolerate wheat or dairy or grains or nuts or seeds or other foods or fats or even greasy fried food, which isn't good for you, but I definitely consider it a challenge food. Like if you can eat greasy fried food, wow, you probably have pretty good liver gallbladder function, right? And that's what I do in the Question Your Digestion course, is I go through every single aspect of your digestive system. And we kind of look and say, okay, how is your intestinal skin? So we troubleshoot your intestinal skin. We go through the kinds of bowel movement you might have, the mucus in your stool. Is it too loose? Is it too firm? Is it too dry? And go through all aspects of your elimination and run a fine-tooth comb through that. And then I give you specific remedies using foods and herbs and plants to help restore the balance and the function with diet and lifestyle as well, to restore the health and function of that. And that's sort of our first section. Then we move up to the upper sort of digestive system, looking at the liver function, the gallbladder function, the duodenal pancreatic enzymes in the stomach. There's a coordination that takes place between your stomach producing acid, your liver producing bile, and your pancreas and duodenum producing enzymes that all coordinate to help us digest. And unfortunately, the foods that we've been eating, and many times sprayed with pesticides, there's glyphosate in the rains. New study just came out showing there's glyphosate in oats. It's everywhere. And these are irritating and inflammatory to the intestinal skin, which we have to heal and repair. And I talk about that and how to do that in the Question Your Digestion course, which again is launched for free. You can sign up for that in the notes in this Facebook Live. You can also go to my homepage at lifespa.com and sign up there for free. Like I told you, it's a completely free course, lots of information. That's our goal at LifeSpa, is always the best we can give the information and knowledge away for free, so you guys can get the tools that you need to restore optimal health and prevent. You know, remember, which I think is really critically important, is that your ability to digest well isn't just about getting the good stuff in. The same pathways that get the good stuff in are the same pathways that get the bad stuff out. So your digestive strength is linked to your detoxification ability. So if you can't digest well, how are you going to detox the 400 billion pounds of toxic chemicals dumped in the American environment every single year, the mercury that's on every organic vegetable from the coal mine plumes that you can't wash off. If you just say, don't eat wheat good, and I don't eat dairy good, and I don't eat grains good, and I take them out of my diet, and lectins are bad because that's now a best-selling book, and I take that out of my diet, and you just eat foods that are super easy to digest, well, two things that you really have to be aware of. Number one, what about the mercury and all these pesticides? If I can't digest hard to digest foods well, how in the world am I going to detoxify myself? And we don't. We dump these toxins into the liver and the gallbladder. We find mercury in our brain tissues. We find lead in storing in tissues around the body. There is just so many toxic issues that we have to deal with that come from really good digestion. And in addition, and I wrote an article called The Dangers of a Gluten-Free Diet. You can go look at that up on my website. Studies show that when people eat wheat, they have significantly less mercury, 4 times less mercury in their bloodstream than people who are gluten-free. You can look up that science that I wrote about. People who eat wheat have significantly more good bacteria and less bad bacteria in their gut than people who are gluten-free. Another study showed that people who eat wheat have significantly more killer T cells, measures of immune strength, than people who are gluten-free. All of which is suggesting the writing on the wall, which is when you go gluten-free and you take foods out of your diet that we've been eating for millions of years. Yes, the new studies show that we've been eating these wheat and grains for millions of years. We had acquired a gene to eat wheat, to break down starch about 1 million to 2 million years ago. So why in the world would we ever acquire a gene to digest starch if we weren't eating it? It just doesn't make any sense, right? And they found gluten particles in the teeth of ancient humans 3.5 million years ago, which also suggests that we were eating wheat and grain and barley and gluten-y type grains as well. And that's all in my Eat Wheat book. But the point that I'm trying to make is if you just take that food out of your diet and we eat highly processed gluten-free foods, which are super processed, and all the other highly processed, easier to digest foods, we take away the stimulation of our gut immunity. We evolved to eat and process poisonous foods. Tomatoes were poisonous. Potatoes were poisonous. Goitrogens were poisonous. Oxalate foods, chocolate, turmeric, all of which were poisonous. We, over the many, many years, have acquired an ability to respond to these foods that were a little poisonous, and that's called our immune system. And when you take away those stimulants for our immune system, we end up with a compromised immune system. And that's exactly why the science is telling us that you really, if you don't have to be gluten-free, you shouldn't be, because the gluten provides lots and lots of nutritional benefits. 2 big major Harvard studies came out about a year ago and found that both of them, 100,000 people, both of them 30 years studies showed that people who eat the most gluten, have less heart disease than people who are gluten-free. In another study, people who eat the most wheat have less diabetes risk than people who are gluten-free. So the science is really in. And I get it. You don't feel great when you eat it, and I wouldn't suggest eating it if you don't feel good, but that doesn't mean you solve the problem. Let's question your digestion. And that's the course that I put out. It's a free course, 4-part video series, really beautifully done. All the information. We go through troubleshooting your intestinal skin and how to heal and repair with whole foods and herbs. We go up and how to reboot liver function, bile flow, gallbladder health, stomach function, duodenal enzymes, how to turn on the coordinated effort of the upper digestive system. And then, of course, we talk about the lymphatic system, which is the system that is now its own organ. They've deemed the lymph around your intestinal tract from top to bottom as its own organ. The mediastinum and the tissue around that holds your intestines in place is now considered its own organ. 90% of it is lymph, which regulates and controls your gut immunity. Understanding these things and understanding the symptoms that go along with, say, the lymph congestion, swollen rings on your swelling fingers and rings get tight, acne, hives, rashes, skin irritations, bloating, breast swelling when you menstruate. I list all the symptoms that you might see if the lymph is the concern in your digestive health. I list all the concerns if your gallbladder is congested or you have what's called bile sludge. You know, the #1 abdominal surgery in America today, gallbladder removal surgery. This is a problem. It's caused by all the bad oils that they putting in our foods to extend shelf life. You know, a loaf of bread in the old days would last a day and get hard. Now a loaf of bread can last on a shelf for a month because they put polyunsaturated fatty acids in them. And to make those stable, they had to boil, bleach, deodorize them, and render them completely inedible to any of your microbes who love fat. That's what they eat. They eat fat. But you put that fat in a loaf of bread, and I don't care if it's organic, expeller pressed oil. As soon as you put that in the oven, that oil is rancid. And when you put it in your mouth, your bugs won't eat it. And the loaf of bread on the shelf, no bugs will eat it. That's why it stays squishy. And then when you eat that food, your bugs in your gut won't eat it. So where do all those oils go? Right to your liver and your gallbladder, compromising your ability to move bile, to emulsify the fats, deliver the good fats for mood stability, get rid of the bad fats so you don't become toxic. Mercury is a fat-soluble chemical. Heavy metals are, environmental pollutants are. It's all the hard to get rid of stuff is the fat-soluble stuff. The bile, if you don't make enough of it, because it's all congested by the bad fats, won't be there to buffer and neutralize the acid in your stomach. So you either get heartburn or your stomach decides not to produce the acid in the first place. Therefore, now you're letting undigested foods, undigested chemicals going into your small intestine and large intestine and ripping your intestinal tract to shreds, causing the gut inflammation and compromising gut immunity. It's very, very simple. And I sort of just gave you sort of a nutshell of how it works. And that's what the Question Your Digestion course is all about. Each video is about 45 minutes, goes into pretty good detail of each section of your digestion, giving you a troubleshooting guide how to fix it and support it. And I highly recommend you watch this because to me, you know, I've been in practice for almost 40 years now. It's all about your digestion. And it's not just me saying that. Ayurveda said that for thousands of years. They say the #1 thing, 85% of all disease comes from a broken down digestion. So it's high time we question our digestion. And I've written a ton about that on my website in my articles, but this course kind of puts it all together for you. Like I said, it's free. You can sign up here in the notes in the Facebook Live. You can also go to my homepage at LifeSpa.com and sign up there. And I hope you enjoy this course. It's really one of my favorite things to do is to just bundle a bunch of information together and give it to you guys for free so you can really take the benefits and run with it and really get the digestive strength and detoxification strength that we need to be healthy, you know, as we move into the later part of our life, the second half when we really need it. Most of us can blast through the first half of our life, no problems at all. The second half of our life, you got to better make sure you get it right. You can fake it in the first half, but you can't fake it in the second half. And I'm in the second half of my life. I'm 62 now. So it's really important for me. And I've learned how to strengthen my digestion, how critically is important for my health and my vitality. I hope it will do the same for you. Thanks for listening. Check us out at LifeSpa.com. And please like this Facebook Live if you like it and you like the information. And definitely sign up for the Question Your Digestion free course training. All right. Thanks. See you next week. Bye-bye.